In a world full of adventurers, there are two who stand out from the rest. Two best friends, one in search of gold, the other in search of glory. Come along as we join these two partners, Miguel and Tulio.
I am Miguel,
And I am Tulio.
and they call us Miguel and Tulio.
While they scheme their way from the shores of Spain to the lush jungles and gold-lined streets of El Dorado. As the moon slowly eclipses the sun, the high priest Tzekel-Kan proclaims the end of the 1,000 years of peace in El Dorado. Hailing the beginning of the age of the jaguar, he proposes a sacrifice. Troubled by this, the chief challenges him to summon the gods. And so, conjuring an orb with blood from his own palm, the high priest calls the gods through the cenote well. Meanwhile, the fierce explorer Cortez rides his horse Altivo through the streets of Spain. It is a day of celebration, as Cortez announces his plan to conquer the New World. Down by the docks, Miguel and Tulio are also celebrating. They've just won another game of dice against Cortez's sailors. Without a peseta to his name, one of the sailors offers them something truly irresistible. A map to El Dorado.
Look! El Dorado. The city of gold. This could be our destiny, our fate. Miguel, if I believed in fate, I wouldn't be playing with loaded dice.
Tulio rolls his loaded dice one last time. But the sailors are on to their game. Seizing the map, the two friends run, straight into an angry constable. Never ones to give in without a struggle, they start to fight. Each other. Grabbing swords from nearby guards, they exchange barbs and insults as they make their way through the streets.
Ah, you fight like my sister! I fought your sister. That's a compliment.
They leap onto a rooftop, and as the crowd gasps, Miguel knocks the sword out of Tulio's hand. Calling it a draw, the two jump over the wall, away from the crowd. They're about to celebrate when they turn and find themselves at the wrong end of a bull's horns.
We should have kept those swords ahead.
With the bull and the guards hot on their trail, they weave around buildings and pound up and down stairs. They stop on a high balcony and peer down at two barrels. It's a long way down, but there's no choice.
I'll bet we can make that.
Cedar says we can't.
They leap, and to their surprise, land squarely in the barrels, giving their pursuers the slip.
You lose.
Later, when they push their way out of the barrels, they get a big surprise. They've been loaded onto Cortez's ship. Charged as stowaways, Miguel and Tulio are thrown in the brig. While Tulio works on an escape plan, Miguel hears a sound from up above. Hoofbeats. He decides to enlist the horse's help and uses an apple to coax Altivo over. Tulio laughs at Miguel.
Miguel, you're talking to a horse.
But his laughter turns to surprise when Altivo drops a set of keys through the grate. Up on deck, as Miguel and Tulio tiptoe to a rowboat, Altivo whinnies for his apple.
What's the matter with him? Oh, he wants his apple. Well, give it to him before he wakes up the whole ship.
Miguel tosses it to him, and Altivo watches as it sails over his head and into the water below. Altivo leaps after it, but he can't swim. Miguel dives in, and as Tulio rows over to help him, the boat flips over. They right the boat and get Altivo aboard. But when Miguel and Tulio check their provisions, they find Altivo's cheeks bulging with the only food that didn't sink into the water. For weeks, they drift in the ocean. Then, Sure that the end is near, Miguel and Tulio say goodbye.
Tulio, did you ever imagine it would end like this?
The horse is a surprise.
Any regrets?
Besides dying? Yeah. I never had enough gold.
My regret, besides dying, is our greatest adventure is over before it began, and no one will even remember us.
But the end was not near. Land was near. Miguel and Tulio kiss the sand, but pull back fast when they come face to face with a skeleton. Miguel hesitates. Pulling out the map, he stares at the scene in front of him. It's all right there. They really do have the map to El Dorado.
Tulio, we've done it! What's that? The map? It's all right here! The Whistling Rock, the stream, even those mountains. You said so yourself. It could be possible. And it is. It really is the map to El Dorado.
You drank seawater, didn't you?
Tulio can't resist the idea of a whole city of gold. So the three set out to blaze a trail through the jungle.
Come on, Tulio. We'll follow that trail.
On the way, they're joined by Bebo, a lively armadillo. And together, they follow the map, each landmark bringing them closer to El Dorado. Suddenly, they slide down a steep ravine and, boom, they crash into a big carved rock. Tulio checks the map. They found all the landmarks, but something is missing. There's no Golden City.
Miguel, wake up. We're there.
Give me that.
This apparently El Dorado is native for great big rock.
They are about to turn back when a beautiful girl, Chel, bursts through the waterfall. A band of native soldiers pours out after her, and they glare menacingly at the duo atop Altivo.
Hello, is this your rock? Sorry, we were just looking. We're tourists. we lost our group. Yes. May we go now?
Sitting astride Altivo, Miguel and Tulio look exactly like the picture carved on the rock behind them. Tulio tries to talk their way out of trouble, but to no avail. The soldiers grab Chel and motion for Tulio and Miguel to follow. They lead them behind the waterfall, where they board a waiting boat and row upriver. They pass through a gateway, and Miguel and Tulio's mouths drop as they take in the radiant glow from the golden city before them.
It's El Dorado.
As they enter the city, Miguel and Tulio are met by Tzekel-Kan and Chief Tannabok, and are presented to the people of El Dorado as gods.
My lords, I am Tzekel-Kan, your devoted high priest and speaker for the gods.
I am Chief Tannabok. What names may we call you?
I am Miguel.
And I am Tulio.
And they call us Miguel and Tulio.
Your arrival has been greatly anticipated.
But first, they must prove themselves. Tulio tries to think of a way to impress the people, as Bebo frolics at his feet and Miguel slaps him on the head. Frustrated at the distractions, Tulio yells at them, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" And as he does, a rumbling volcano suddenly silences. The people are stunned. The gods have demonstrated their power. After ordering Chel's release, Miguel and Tulio are led to a lavish temple where they celebrate their best scheme ever.
Tulio and Miguel, mighty and powerful gods.
But they're caught. Chel overhears them as they celebrate their good fortune. knowing that they'll never be able to manage without her, and wanting a getaway herself, she suggests a partnership.
Well, if you guys want the gold and you don't want to get caught, right? You're going to need my help.
Miguel and Tulio reluctantly accept, but they also make a pact that they won't let Chel come between them.
Whoa, she's trouble. Wait a minute.
We are partners.
We're partners.
We have a plan, remember?
Chel is off limits? Shake on it.
And with that agreed, they party like gods at a celebration in their honor. They eat, they drink, they're worshipped. The party has barely ended when Tzekel-Kan, wanting to show his respect, offers a sacrifice at the cenote well.
Stop! This is not a proper tribute.
You do not want the tribute.
The stars are not in position for this tribute. Like he says, stars. Can't do it. Not today.
But Miguel and Tulio prefer the chief's suggestion, piles of gold. It's a dream come true as the people of El Dorado come forth with armloads of gold. Tulio and Miguel are thrilled until the people start to throw the tribute into the well as an offering to Xibalba, the spirit world. Luckily, Chel steps in and saves the day and the gold.
Excuse me, Chief, the gods have changed their minds about Xibalba. They wish to bask in the reverence that has been shown them.
Stop! They wish to bask. Take the tribute to the god's temple.
To help them get their bounty back to Spain, they ask the chief to build them a boat. Miguel and Tulio agree to lie low as it's being built, but Chel has other ideas. Sensing Miguel's urge to see the city, she encourages him to explore, leaving her alone with Tulio.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you really shouldn't miss it.
When Tulio notices that Miguel is gone, he panics, but he is soon distracted by Chel.
Hey, what happened to Miguel?
You worried so much.
And as Miguel falls in love with El Dorado, Tulio and Chel start falling in love with each other. Out in the city, Miguel meets a group of native children and begins an innocent game of ball. But his little ball game leads to big trouble when Tzekel-Kan spots him. Confused by Miguel's behavior, Tzekel-Kan sets up a ball game fit for gods against the chief's biggest warriors.
15 mortals against 2 gods.
I realize it's a bit uneven, but I do hope they'll challenge you enough to make the game interesting.
The game begins, and goal after goal is scored. But the gods aren't scoring any. Only the warriors are.
How long does this go on, anyway?
The game is over when the shadow touches this line.
We need a miracle.
Chel sees something must be done. So, when the ball bounces out of bounds, she switches the ball for a sure thing. Bebo. Bebo spins, bounces, and flies into the hoop again and again. But just as Miguel and Tulio are about to score the winning goal, the armadillo bounces out of play. When Chel tosses the ball back onto the field, she throws the wrong one. Fortunately, Altivo is there to help Miguel and Tulio snatch victory from the hands of the burly warriors. As a tribute to their success, Tzekel-Kan suggests another sacrifice, the losing team. But once again, Miguel and Tulio refuse his offer. Tzekel-Kan turns to leave and notices a drop of blood on Miguel's forehead. He knows something is wrong. These gods are not who they claim to be.
Do you know why the gods demand blood?
Well, I don't know.
Because gods don't bleed. It's time to take the future into my own hands.
He hurries to his temple to determine how to rid the city of these false gods. Meanwhile, pleased with the effect that their presence has had on the city, the chief tells Miguel that he is welcome to stay. Miguel is torn. He loves El Dorado, but he can't imagine life without Tulio. Struggling to make a decision, Miguel overhears Tulio trying to convince Chel to return to Spain with him.
All right. Cards on the table. I want you to come to Spain with me and Miguel. Mostly me. Especially me. Only me. Forget Miguel.
Thinking that Tulio is abandoning him to be with Chel, Miguel decides to stay in El Dorado alone. Later, Miguel tells Tulio his decision. Tulio misunderstands.
Whoa, Miguel. We can't stay here. We have a plan, remember?
But Miguel makes it clear that he does not expect Tulio to stay with him. Tulio is shocked that he would give up their friendship. But before they have a chance to discuss it, a massive stone jaguar appears. The fierce creature, conjured by Tzekel-Kan, sends people screaming in terror as it searches for the false gods. Miguel and Tulio spring into action to save the people. Working as a team, they lure the jaguar toward a pit of lava. The jaguar lunges, and they leap to safety just as the beast is swallowed up by the red-hot liquid. Suddenly, Tzekel-Kan appears and confronts the false gods. Always ready for a con, Tulio blames Miguel for the deceit, and Miguel blames him right back.
You're not a god? You lied to me? How dare you?
Hey, it was his stupid plan.
The argument heats up.
You're buying your own con. Well, then why don't you just go back to Spain and I'll stay here and we'll both get what we want.
That's fine with me, pal.
Fine with me too.
And the two cock their fists back to swing at Tzekel-Kan. Knocking him to the ground, they grab some vines to tie him up. But before they have a chance, the jaguar reappears and leaps at them again. Miguel and Tulio jump away, and the jaguar lands hard right next to Tzekel-Kan, sending them both tumbling down into the cenote well. A cheer rises from the people. The roar becomes louder as it is announced that Miguel will be staying. But Tulio will return to Spain with Chel. Miguel walks them to the waterfront to say goodbye, and Tulio and Chel prepare to board the boat that will carry them away from El Dorado. Meanwhile, a wet and weary Tzekel-Kan washes up at the waterfall, just as Cortez and his army arrive. Cortez notices his golden earrings and commands him to lead the way to El Dorado. Tulio and Chel are about to leave when the news arrives. Cortez and his army are approaching.
Warriors, prepare yourselves for battle!
With a little help from Bibo, Tulio comes up with a plan to crash through the gateway and seal El Dorado forever. Even though it means Tulio will lose his gold, it's the only way to save the city. But when the plan is put into action, the sail of his boat gets stuck. Seeing Tulio in trouble, Miguel jumps on Altivo, and they take an amazing leap. Miguel frees the sail and lands on deck just as the boat begins to move, but he doesn't get off.
Get off the boat, Miguel, or you'll never see the city again.
I know. You don't think I'm going to let you have all the fun, do you?
Together again, Tulio and Miguel realize their friendship is more important than a life as a god or a boatload of gold. As the gateway cistern topples, Miguel, Tulio, and Chel turn the boat to smash the pillars, and at the last second, jump clear. The boat crashes, spilling all their gold as the entry to El Dorado closes behind them. Waterlogged and exhausted, the group has washed up on the riverbank. Ducking out of sight, they watch as Tzekel-Kan is dragged away by Cortez, leaving El Dorado safe forever. Joyously, Miguel and Tulio celebrate their victory and their renewed partnership. They have no gold, no map, and no plan, but they still have each other. Together with Chel, Altivo, and Bebo, they set off in search of another adventure.
Kill him, boys!
Hey! Altivo! Ah! Sit, boy, sit! Chel, we're not on the